starting anew. We need to once and for all realize how decided actions influence the well-being of other family members, dictating how they feel about life, including the way they see other people and the world around them. Ultimately, individual behaviors have collectively entangled millions of lives into a ball of uncooperative complications. The greed for money, the thirst for power, a lack of respect for the unspoken laws, and now the whole well-being of the entire human race is being severely threatened once again. We citizens shall no longer remain idle while just a handful of people decide the current state of global affairs, let alone our future realities. Before Bush and Dick were re-elected for a second term, bin Laden mentioned something about it being up to us citizens. And it's hard for me to dismiss our vice president indicating that if Bush were not to be re-elected and there came another 9/11, it would rest on the conscience of the voting public, including the non-voting public. Regardless the exact verbiage utilized, there shall come forth a sea of people, and both of you are going to be fired. During the history of 20th century Islamic terrorism, the world has been dealt an escalation. An escalation beginning with the formation of an Israeli state and a subjugation of Palestinian people, then more friction resulting from merging Saudi-US relations, an added escalation due to disappointment in bin Laden's relations with the US, and on into a full-blown escalation resulting from the invasion into Iraq. Every situation different, regardless of similarities, with various traits and influences, each concern needing to be acknowledged, confirmed, and resolved. People began reacting while placed under a condition, and look at what it has escalated into. Unconventional battle of the worst kind with no end in sight. We are all descendants of Abraham. We are all partners of the land, and we need to remember that everyone on this planet is family. Looking ahead, beyond all the historical tape and the blur of broken borders, the very front on this war, now taking place in Iraq, provides all of us with a definable opportunity that can lead to peace in a number of regions, given precise continued action and support. Rather than battle collective reasoning on various fronts throughout the years to come and continuing to go back and forth, the Iraq war conundrum enables a clear-cut loser to step forth and begin to end a radical feud spread out over a global field. Iraq is so pivotal because the global war must first cease before Iraqi tribes can be left alone to ever make their own peace, with there no longer still hanging in the air a point to be made by the expanding insurgency. This cannot be sanely argued. As long as the U.S. and global extremism is enthroned in battle, that point to be made will reappear over and over again, leaving citizens uneasy and potential targets for generations to come, unless the larger argument is settled now and forevermore. Reason, vision, optimism, and compassion enables me the clarity and the ability to recognize the need to propose a truce, a lasting truce. A truce creates a winning situation for all sides as an alternative to constantly losing to each other in endless ongoing battles. It's a start, and I, for one, can only beg for mercy. The mercy I pray for is reasonable conditions. In demonstrating our resolve as caring citizens, a nationwide peace rally of never-before-seen numbers in support of a truce, and moving our legal system into an accountability phase will lay the groundwork for a gesture of peace to be taken serious at all. It's essential that everyone get involved. This is our first step. Hold our leaders accountable, and with this small victory at home, there opens the door to negotiation, terms, conditions, changes, and eventually peace. Making peace can occur without necessarily giving up our way of life here on American soil, and nobody is going to persist in expecting me to conduct my relationship with God according to someone else's belief system. All faiths are presented with a golden opportunity to be a bigger person and lean more on our mistakes and follies, more so than on what we don't like about others. Again, in order to receive forgiveness and renewed support, we must first create the grounds for such on the level that demands of such. In support of this proclamation, it is imperative that you act now and impeach long before the elections. War. There's nothing good about any man feeling as though he's come to his last remaining option. When our enemies grant us mercy, you will witness your Eastern brother's heart no lesser than your own here in this Western world. And then, the leaders who had only a deaf ear to its citizens, the leaders who subjugated others in order to satisfy their own existence, and the leaders who led good, loving people astray, will have a choice to make: open arms or clenched fists. One way or another, people desire to get on with it already, and we have had enough of war and its disastrous consequences. It's been about willingness. It will always hinge on willingness. You got to be willing to carry on, and others got to be willing to play your games. True freedom is to be granted the benefit of the doubt to begin with, and historical law has been strategically written the world over to help keep societies from becoming completely chaotic. We're a bunch of animals unless we try to do better otherwise. It's now about each and every person taking greater self-control and breaking the cycles of self-destruction on a personal level, and it's as well now about the citizens of this nation taking away control from current leaders and together breaking this country's cycles of self-destruction.